All right, we're kicking off 2025 with a great guest. I requested permission from The Athletic to interview her, and you know what? They didn't grant it, so I guess we're going to incur tampering fines or something. Senior NFL insider and host of the Scoop City podcast, Diana Russini. What's happening, Diana?
What's up? I'm a rule breaker, so I'm doing everything illegal right now. The Athletic was like, do not do his show. They let me do every other, which I'm sure you've seen.
Right.
They're just like pushing me to the curb, like just go away, girl. But this was the one they didn't want me to do. But let's do it. Let's break all the laws.
It makes all the sense. We'll share an NFL cell together. Goodell has us underground somewhere. Listen, how many times do you think you've said or typed the words requested permission to interview this week?
So you would have thought I worked for Jets.com yesterday. Earlier in the week, it was just the Jets were really organized, actually, and they're casting a really wide net and putting in a lot of requests because on Monday morning is when it became legal for them to put in the slips. I wonder if Mike Tannenbaum's getting paid per interview at this point, because he's not. But I mean, they've
you don't know that.
Yeah. What? Yeah. You never know. They put in requests for, I'm not kidding, it's got to be over 24 people now between the general managers and the head coaches. And part of me is like, all right, I get it. They want to see what everyone has to offer. But how difficult must that be to keep track of it? To figure out like who is who and remember who was that? And you know, Rex Ryan met with them in person in Florida. Mike Vrabel met with them at Florham Park, which that was weird. Like Jeff Ulbricht's like out on the field running around with the guys, like getting prepared for a game. And Mike Vrabel's just walking around the facility. Ron Rivera was there the day before, just walking around. It's crazy. But yeah, right now, every team is just going full steam ahead here, trying to get these interviews in the can.
But the Jets are especially annoying with the request. They're like the drunk guy at the wedding approaching the DJ and say, play Living on a Prayer. And he's like, yeah, we played that already, right? Like the Jets are, it would make sense that they were, out of the box annoying.
Yeah, they're like Love Shack, you know. They definitely put in a few requests of those. The B-52s, just like, dude, no one likes that song.
Right. All right. So let's stay in the division with the Patriots. And our New England overlord, Bill Simmons, said Gerard Mayo should have been fired before the season finale. And Robert Kraft said firing Mayo was the toughest thing he's ever had to do. I think both Simmons and Kraft are out of their minds. What do you feel?
Yeah, Bill is definitely out of his mind. You know, it's funny. I almost messaged him on Sunday morning because the heat really got hot from the people I was talking to. And I was like, maybe I'll just let Bill know, just to be nice, you know, maybe he'll enjoy the day. But obviously the way they won the game didn't help anything. So I'm glad I didn't jump into that hornet's nest.
Yeah.
So look, I feel there's a couple ways we can look at this story. I appreciated Robert Kraft's openness with the media, actually. I thought he did a really good job of just going, look, he wasn't ready. I thought he was. I made a mistake. There were examples in the meeting rooms, on the field, off the field, that this was not the way New England wants to do it. And ownership knew this. And I do think it was difficult for him because it is personal and he does care about, I mean, if there's one owner who has such great relationships with his former players, it's Robert Kraft, right? I mean, he's done such a good job over the years. When you win that much, you tend to love your guys.
Yeah.
So I think it was difficult for him just because of that personal connection. But I
think tell me if I'm wrong, but more selfishly on Kraft's part, I don't think he wants to be known as the organization like the Panthers with the one and dones. Like they have this history and we have a coach. We want that coach for a decade or 2 decades. And like, so as much as he may have liked Gerard Mayo, he also is like, oh, but I don't want to fall into this flimsy organizational tap.
Oh, 100%. You do not want to be the one and done team. I mean, look at the New York Giants. I know that's not a one and done team, but it's like painting John Mara to stick with Brian Daboll. He's like, yes, I believe in them, but they'll be fired the second they lose. You know what I mean? Like just try to like work through the emotions of it. Whereas I think Kraft saw this thing coming full steam ahead and was like, you know what? I'm getting off this train right now. Let's recenter and figure out what we want to do next year. Oh, wait, it's so easy to get a divorce if somebody smoking hot is out on the free agency.
Right.
Right. It's a trapeze artist special. And so obviously with Ben Johnson, who's the hottest offensive play caller in the league right now, and of course, Mike Vrabel being the lead candidate in New England, you let go of one and you hope you can go grab the other.
Who gets it out of those two? You think it's definitely one of those two? And
Yeah,
which are you going?
I have the only reason why I give Vrabel the edge on this, outside of all the great things that we know about him, and I do think he's one of the best coaches in football. I think the comfort Robert Kraft will have with a New England person, everything we know about people that come from New England, they just do it a certain way. It's different. It works for them, but it makes them feel comfortable. All the qualities that you think of when you think of the way New England wants to do it, to me, that's a slam dunk if Mike Vrabel wants the job.
Okay. Sorry, back to the Jets for a minute. And Aaron Rodgers. Now I'm going to speak ill of him, and I know you're a big fan, and you're going to reprimand me for this because you're over the top. No one can say anything bad about Aaron Rodgers around you. But listen, I think I've turned the corner. I still can't stand him, but I've turned the corner on whether or not he should play next year. I look back, and I hope they won that last game. I hope he looks at his stats and says, hey, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 3,900 yards. Not that I could be of service to a team. And then I hope he does this and goes and loses 11, 12 games for the Raiders next year. Are you ready, or can you not stomach any more of this?
I can stomach it. I want to see more Aaron Rodgers.
There you go.
I still think he's such a good quarterback when he's
Oh,
healthy.
no, you don't.
And
No,
when
you
he's
don't.
bought in. Look, the stuff with Rodgers is it's the off the field stuff, it's the mind games, it's the attention, it's all the things that come with him that you guys talk about on the show all the time. But when it comes to football, that's not the way an organization needs to run. And he needed a really strong head coach that could put him in a position of just playing quarterback and worrying about that, and being a leader and being a good teammate and being the Aaron Rodgers, the best version of him. And we've seen it before, but I don't necessarily believe we ever really saw the best version of Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to compliment him
play.
either way from
I
this.
would be shocked if he doesn't play. I would be shocked.
Okay, but so he'd have to let go of this I'm bringing my guys in thing. He'd have to go on a team that had a strong head coach already, all the things you just said, right? So I wonder what even is a good fit at this point. It's not the Jets again, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work anymore. I think both sides know, like, this wasn't great. Although he did say this was the best 2 years of his life, which that was shocking to me.
I believe it, but it's all has to do with traveling in the Amazon and taking Iowa. It has nothing to do with football, I don't think.
Yeah, he's like that. Yeah. That Egypt trip that really stood out to me, and the beat reporter's like, "Wait, what? You went to Egypt? Oh, that's where you went."
What do you think about Bill Belichick? Had he waited, not taken the job at Chapel Hill, would there have been an opening for him this year?
No, great question, because I do. I think the New York Jets would have had a conversation with him.
Oh, wow.
So it happened. Right. So Bill took the job that Tuesday, and I stepped into it that Friday that he had reached out to the Jets. And I was like, wait. What? Everyone needs to tell me how this all came about. So
Simmons gets very upset by this, but I think this is a distinct possibility, and you're about to confirm it.
Okay.
Yes.
So 2 weeks prior, Belichick and Mike Tannenbaum, who's leading the search for the New York Jets here, for the new head coach and general manager, had a conversation like, look, we don't want to go to Jacksonville, or Bill doesn't want to go to Jacksonville. Jacksonville wasn't interested. No team is calling. Why don't we be proactive here and reach out to the Jets? Bill saying to Tannenbaum, can you give Woody Johnson sort of a sales pitch of, hey, I'd be open to having a conversation. Let's see what we can do. Obviously, the Jets hear this and they're like, what? Like, what? Are you kidding? Do you think saying the things that you said over the last year on the Manning cast and on every podcast that you went on, crushing the New York Jets and ownership was smart if you really wanted to work here? Yet the Jets were like, well, maybe we should have a conversation. And they weren't able to get this all set because the UNC thing started to really get steam, and people were pushing him to take that opportunity seriously, because the reality is the Jets could have easily just said, now we're not really going to do this. Or maybe Woody would have changed his mind and didn't want to meet with him. But just the fact, to me, it's one of the stories of the year. The fact that there was a world where Bill Belichick possibly would have met with the New York Jets for their head coaching job, and the history that they have. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, and I see, man. Now I'm thinking, I wonder if, going back a ways, the disrespect like the Falcons showed him and forcing him to take 2 interviews, I wonder if that like shied him away from thinking, all right, I can't be embarrassed here and turn down UNC and then have nothing from the NFL.
It's
You
a
think that
great
was it?
point.
Yeah.
He hated that interview process with the
Hmm.
Falcons. So I just think that overall process to him, look, he hasn't done it in a long time. I kind of think of the same thing with Kraft right now.
Um,
I know you made fun of all the reporting I'm doing on all the request slips that are going out. Like,
um,
does Robert Kraft even know how to put in a request slip?
no.
Like he didn't do it with Mayo. He hasn't hired a new coach in over 23 years.
Right. Yeah. No, that's that game is behind him, I'm sure.
He's
All
like
right, listen.
faxing. He's like, why
Yeah.
isn't this fax machine working?
I have this abacus, but no one's responding. We can't get an interview. Diana, so the NFL news cycle never stops. We talked about it right before you jumped on, actually. What's the strangest place you've ever been where you broke a story?
What are you trying to set me up like Schefter? I
I
can't believe
think
he
so.
revealed that story. I'm like, Adam, he's not even like Adam is such a private person.
I
I
haven't
was
tried.
shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked he said that, but this is what I love when people get older. It's just kind of like you see this with veteran players. Like they just
Yeah.
start saying whatever the heck they want because why
Right.
not? Right. Like at this
Yeah.
point, look, I have two little boys, 3 and 2. So my house is a constant zoo. So I'd say probably the worst situation I've ever been in terms of breaking a story. It led to one. Both my sons, they take tubs together because it's just easier for me. And I had to take a call. And you know how it works with kids in tubs, water, all of that, like
You
dangerous,
run out
bad
of hands.
situation.
Yeah.
You run out of hands and they can't swim. They're like little guys.
Hmm.
But I had to take a call. There are some people in football, if they call you, you better answer because when you call them back, they don't answer. It's so annoying.
Mm.
So I'm like, I got to take this call. So I do one of these like half and halves, 1 foot in, 1/2 foot out, because they're, the kids like hit their dinosaur heads together. It's loud, and I'm just trying to keep it normal. So I'm in the hallway. I'm like, and I'm trying to remember everything he's telling me because it's a good story. And my kids just start screaming. And one of them went to the bathroom in the tub, which grossed out the other one, which then caused the other one to throw up. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of disgusting stuff going on. So I'd say that was probably the worst case situation. And I remember in that moment going, I don't know if I'm going to cry or if I should just laugh at this because this is insane.
All right. Wild card weekend. Do you like any upsets?
The Broncos and the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, man.
Okay. So I talked to a few guys on the Chiefs after their game, and we were just like talking about players love to talk about other teams more than they like to talk about their own team, which is really funny. But I did ask a few of them, like, okay, who's your biggest threat? AFC, like, what's the team you're worried about? And I'm like ready for Bills and Ravens, and the Broncos. Right? Their defense is so good. And it seems like this offense is getting better every week. Bo Nix is getting more comfortable. Sean Payton obviously just leads the charge here and has complete control over this team, has the pulse of them like no other. He just knows how to get the most out of everybody in every situation. And there's something magical about naivete and just being young and not knowing any better. And these are the types of teams that are dangerous. Right? Where they're just like, we can't believe we're here. Like, we're here with a rookie quarterback that no other organization was even thinking about drafting. Yet he's the guy that's the future of the Denver Broncos. So this isn't a knock on the Bills. Look, a rookie quarterback going into Buffalo against Josh Allen, holy crap, that's scary and intimidating and everything that comes with it. But this is one of those matchups I won't be surprised, and I'll be messaging if it happens.
Diana, you made it this far. I've got one last question for you. We call this Cuz's Conundrum.
Cuz's Conundrum.
Here is the conundrum. I have a feeling I know which side you're going to fall on this. You are out there and you break the top sports story of the year. Let's say it involves Taylor and Travis eloping, okay? But if you break the story, your husband, a huge Eagles fan, also breaks his foot kicking the living room ottoman after Philly loses to Green Bay this week. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Do you break the story if it means he breaks his foot?
Yes. Do you understand the hell I'm living in over the next few weeks? Like the idea that Jalen Hurts is going through this concussion protocol, and we know this change. This is a story of whether or not the Philadelphia Eagles are going to probably continue in the playoffs or get bounced, one and done. The either way, if the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to probably be miserable. So I might as well get some career success, squeeze some juice out of that thing. Because at least that makes me happy, because dealing with the Eagles fandom and the obnoxiousness is certainly an issue in my house, and I don't like it.
Okay, I figured you'd answer that way, but a broken foot out 6 to 8 weeks, he can't help with the kids. The bath thing is still a problem.
I just had this conversation with someone this morning. I'm not feeling that great, and when you become a parent, when you get sick, you don't even think about yourself. You just think, how am I going to do this with these little guys? But yeah, I think it's, to me, breaking a story trumps anything to do with, trumps anything over Kev.
Okay. That's amazing. Sorry, Kev. We have to root for the Eagles at least one more week. I appreciate that. Hey, go and listen to Scoop City with Diana Russini and Chase Daniel, wherever you get your podcast. Diana, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks. That was fun.